The phone on the nightstand vibrated. At this hour, without even looking, Asher knew it was Leo. He had been getting a message from him at precisely this time for 3 days straight. Leo wanted to know if his brother was awake. Asher confirmed that he was. Leo then inquired, with a flourish of mock formality, if his brother would be gracing Instagram with his presence today. Asher replied that he was still thinking about it. A question mark appeared from Leo, followed by another message asking what, exactly, was the holdup. Asher stared at the screen, not responding immediately. After a moment, he finished the last of his oatmeal in a few quick swallows and went back to his bedroom. He closed the door and sat at the desk, pulling open a drawer to retrieve a thick stack of photographs. The pictures Leo was talking about had been ready since the second day he'd been home. His parents had thrown a backyard barbecue to welcome him back from his semester abroad. It was a small gathering, just close friends and neighbors, along with some of his mother's colleagues. Among them were several young men and women around his age. Dozens of pictures had been taken, resulting in this hefty pile of prints. Within the stack, 2 in particular met Leo's criteria perfectly. The first was a group shot. A girl standing just ahead of him had happened to turn and smile in his direction right as the shutter clicked. It created a flicker of intimacy, though in reality, her smile wasn't for him. She had been looking at her boyfriend, captured mid-glance by the camera, which made it appear as if she were gazing at Asher with tender affection. The other photo was one his mother had taken of him at the grill. He was centered in the frame, head down, focused on flipping a steak with a pair of tongs. A few other young people were gathered around him, all looking his way because he'd been in the middle of telling a story. This picture wasn't suggestive, but it was undeniably striking. The people flanking him were all newly signed models from his mother's agency. Each one was statuesquely built with chiseled features that the camera adored. One of the guys had a brooding, indie band vibe, with dense, dark brown hair and eyelashes so long they cast shadows on his pale skin, making his lips seem impossibly red. At first glance, there was a faint echo of Caleb's aesthetic in him. If he posted these 2 photos, Asher was certain that if Caleb saw them, he would notice the girl, and he would definitely notice the guy with the dark brown hair. But he hadn't posted them. He had even drafted the post, arranging 9 photos in a grid, placing these 2 contentious images in the 4th and final spots, subtle, inconspicuous positions. The caption was already written, a simple statement that fit his usual style, home. Everything had been prepared since the second day he was back. But now it was the 4th day. The post remained a draft. He was deeply conflicted. Even when he felt Leo's advice was sound, that he should just listen to him, he couldn't bring himself to do it. Felt wrong. He had been quick to accept the minor games before, the little strategies of push and pull, because they felt like a part of the flirtation, a way to enhance their connection without causing Caleb any real stress. But posting ambiguous photos, while the goal was the same, the method, if successful, wouldn't bring Caleb positive feelings. It would plant seeds of negative doubt and suspicion, of misunderstanding and pressure. He adored Caleb too much to knowingly make him unhappy. And so the matter had been postponed. As Asher wrestled with his thoughts, his phone buzzed again. 2 more question marks from Leo appeared, followed by a text asking if he was still there. Asher's gaze fell, and he typed back that he was. Leo immediately wanted to know what was going on, what his final decision was. Asher asked if there were any other options. A beat of silence. Then Leo expressed his disbelief that a single Instagram post could cause such turmoil. Asher admitted it did. He didn't want Caleb to get the wrong idea. Leo told him not to be so dramatic. A few pictures were harmless. He wasn't suggesting Asher post anything overtly intimate with another girl. Just a normal group photo was enough to make Caleb realize how many attractive people he was surrounded by, that he had options. It would never escalate to a genuine misunderstanding. Leo insisted he wasn't an idiot. Their connection was already so fragile. Creating a real rift would be disastrous. Besides, for jealousy to work, Caleb first had to care enough to be jealous. They were only on the first step, Leo reminded him, which was to make Caleb recognize his value and regret ever letting him go. He asked if Asher understood. Despite his recent failures with Caleb, his friend's encouragement gave Asher a sliver of renewed confidence. He replied that he understood and thanked him. Leo brushed it off, joking that he couldn't comfortably accept the money Asher had paid him for his advice until Caleb was successfully won over. Asher managed a small smile and took a deep breath, looking again at the two carefully selected photos. Viewed objectively, they were just normal pictures. In one, he looked straight ahead. In the other, his eyes were on the stake with no eye contact with anyone else. The photo with the smiling girl might seem suggestive in isolation, but the overall atmosphere was cheerful. Several other people were also laughing, making her expression blend into the larger scene. It wasn't as scandalous as Leo had suggested. It wouldn't cause a real fight. So, should he post it? Asher's eyes lowered as he opened Instagram and navigated to his saved drafts. The 9-image grid and the caption sat waiting. His thumb hovered over the share button. A single tap was all it would take. The room was so quiet he could hear his own breathing. After another deep breath, his finger pressed down. A prompt appeared, asking if he wanted to save his S. He pursed his lips and tapped "Don't save." Just like that, the draft he'd held onto for 3 days vanished. He switched back to his messages. He typed to Leo, apologizing and saying he just couldn't go through with it. He thanked him for all the effort. A question mark was Leo's only response. Asher explained that Caleb was sensitive and insecure, and this kind of tactic just wasn't the way to go. He acknowledged Leo's good intentions but decided he had to follow his own instincts from now on. Their situation was already at rock bottom. It couldn't get much worse, so he would just be himself. He thanked his friend again and told him to go enjoy his game. Leo asked what his next move was. Asher replied that he wanted to talk to him. He wanted to tell Caleb everything he'd been holding inside for days. Meanwhile, Caleb had just finished a sweep of the campus convenience store, stopping only when his arms were full. A week had passed and his right leg was much improved. As long as he walked slowly and didn't overdo it, the pain was almost gone. He carried his purchases to the low brick planter outside his dorm building and sat on the edge after laying down a napkin. The campus cats immediately gathered around him. The boldest one, a burly orange tabby, even placed its front paws on his knee, sniffing eagerly at the food in his hands. He murmured for them to be patient as he unwrapped everything and placed it on the ground. The animals instantly abandoned him for the feast. It was just after 5 in the afternoon, that liminal space between day and night. The clouds on the horizon were a brilliant, fiery red, reflecting beautifully in his eyes. The distinct whir of an electric utility cart sounded in the distance. Caleb looked up to see one of the older campus groundskeepers coming to pick up his daughter from her shift at the university bookstore. They were both smiling, and the girl was carrying 2 large grocery bags. Caleb knew they were for a special meal. He'd overheard her talking to a coworker earlier while he was shopping. She'd mentioned that her father's holiday shifts meant he could never really relax and have a drink, so she'd bought 2 nice bottles of wine for him to enjoy. A soft lick on his finger brought him back. He looked down to see the big orange tabby nudging its head into his palm, asking for affection. He asked softly if it had eaten its fill, his hand stroking the cat's head. All the campus cats were registered and named. Students fed them often, so they were all plump and friendly. The tabby purred, jumped up onto the planter beside him, and flopped onto its back, exposing a soft, white belly. Caleb's eyes widened in pleasant surprise, and he asked if the cat really wanted a belly rub. A soft meow was his answer. A smile touched Caleb's lips as he gently placed his hand on the warm, fluffy stomach. He murmured how cute the cat was, gently scratching its belly. He asked if it would come see him for the next few days, to keep him company over the holiday break. The tabby just closed its eyes, its purr a low rumble in its throat. Seeing this, the smile in Caleb's eyes deepened. Just then, his phone vibrated in his pocket. He pulled it out to see a message from Asher. It was a picture. The accompanying text said that the morning in Portland had been exceptionally beautiful. Caleb opened the image. The sun was fully risen, a gentle golden orb in a clear, washed-out blue sky. It looked warm. He thought about how it had taken Asher all these days to finally send him a message. He didn't reply, noticing the typing indicator pulsing on the screen. He decided to wait and see what Asher had to say after all this time. He continued stroking the cat's belly, waiting. After a long moment, the notification sounded. The message was just his name. Caleb let out a short, incredulous laugh. All that time, all that hesitation, just to type his name? This guy. Another message appeared. I miss you. The smile vanished from Caleb's face. He stared at the 3 words, his expression frozen. After a moment, he blinked, lowering his gaze to hide his emotions. He typed back, asking when Asher was coming back to Northwood. Asher froze when he saw the reply. That was it? So cold. A direct deflection of what he had just sent. So, Caleb really wasn't going to give him any chance at all. The familiar chill crept back into his chest. He quickly checked his calendar. The day after tomorrow was Christmas Eve. Then Christmas. The new semester started on the 8th of January, not that far away. Should he wait until then, or go back right after the holiday to talk? Waiting seemed pointless. Caleb's attitude suggested he wouldn't be receptive to any attempts to win him over. After turning it over in his mind, Asher opted for a more conservative reply. He told Caleb he hadn't decided yet, that there were family obligations for the holiday and his return date was uncertain. Caleb's response was immediate. Okay, let me know when you figure it out. Did he really want to break up this badly? Asher stared at the message, unsure how to proceed. After a long pause, he simply typed back, okay. Caleb then asked why Asher hadn't messaged him the past few days, wondering if he hadn't received his earlier texts. How was he supposed to answer that? Before he could formulate a response, another message came through from Caleb. It was a picture. He then asked if it was still morning where Asher was, because it was already dusk here. Asher blinked, confused. He looked at the photo. It wasn't a sunset. It was the fat orange cat, lying on its back with its belly exposed. Caleb's hand rested on its stomach, fingers slightly curled as if he were petting it. It looked incredibly peaceful. What was happening? Why was he suddenly sending him pictures of a cat? Asher frowned, scrolling up to reread their previous messages, then back down to the photo. He studied it for a long moment before tentatively typing back, asking if Caleb was petting a cat. Caleb confirmed that he was, adding that it was quite cute and had offered its belly for rubs voluntarily. Asher felt a wave of confusion. He reread the entire exchange again, thought for a moment, and replied that the cat did look chubby and cute. Caleb agreed and then asked what Asher was doing. Was he trying to make small talk? After all this, on the verge of a breakup, he wanted to chat casually? Asher was completely bewildered, but he answered the question first, explaining that he had just finished breakfast and was about to go shoot some hoops. He then took a quick, blurred screenshot of the conversation and sent it all to Leo, followed by a series of question marks. Leo replied with his own question marks. They went back and forth, two confused faces communicating through the digital ether. It was Asher who broke the cycle. A wide grin spread across his face, and he jumped up from his chair, pure relief washing over him. He typed furiously to Leo that he had been completely wrong. Caleb didn't want to break up with him at all. Leo retorted, asking how that was his fault, since Asher had provided all the information. Asher complained that he hadn't slept or eaten properly for days. Leo told him he could eat and sleep well tonight. Asher was speechless. Leo congratulated him on the turn of events. Asher's chest rose and fell as he took deep breaths, pacing his room with the giddy excitement of a lottery winner. So he had overthought everything? There was nothing wrong? Caleb had never intended to break up with him. He'd just scared himself into believing it. He ran both hands through his hair, letting out a forceful exhale. What kind of an idiot was he? After a few minutes, Asher managed to compose himself. He pressed his lips together, suppressing his excitement, and messaged Caleb. He asked about the thing Caleb had said he wanted to talk about. Caleb's reply was a question mark, then another message asking if Asher had seen his original text. He then wanted to know why Asher hadn't replied to it. Asher froze, the smile stiffening on his face. He swallowed hard and, deciding it was best to face it head-on, called him. Caleb picked up almost immediately. Before he could even say hello, 3 words tumbled out of Asher's mouth. "I'm so sorry." There was a pause on the other end. Then Caleb's voice, tinged with amusement, asked if this was an apology. Asher confirmed that it was. Caleb then pointed out that he sounded incredibly happy for someone who was apologizing. After Asher explained the whole misunderstanding, Caleb was left both exasperated and amused. He told Asher that if he wanted to break up, he would have just said so directly. There was no need to wait for him to return to Northwood. But Asher hadn't contacted him for days, so Caleb had assumed he was being ignored. Asher explained he had been waiting for Caleb to contact him. The line went quiet for a moment before the other man said he was sorry. Caleb laughed and told him he didn't have to keep apologizing. Asher asked again what Caleb had wanted to talk to him about. Caleb suggested they discuss it in person, reassuring him that it wasn't bad news and he shouldn't worry. Asher pressed, asking if he couldn't say it over the phone. Caleb admitted he could, but he preferred to talk face-to-face. He wanted to be serious about this, to look Asher in the eye, just as they had when they first established their arrangement, confirming every detail and observing his honest reaction. Asher, having obsessed over that single message for 3 days, pleaded for at least a hint. He knew he wouldn't be able to rest otherwise. Caleb seemed to understand and relented, saying he would put him out of his misery. His tone grew serious. He told Asher that he wanted him to be his boyfriend. The words were spoken softly, but their impact was immense. The moment they were uttered, Caleb heard a sharp intake of breath on the other end of the line. A slight smile played on his lips as he waited, giving Asher a moment to process. Then he asked if Asher had heard him. Asher's response was a rush-torn of words, asking if he was serious, if this meant they were really dating, if he meant boyfriend in the way Asher was thinking. Caleb replied yes and no. Asher immediately said he understood. Their relationship had to be a secret, known to no one. Caleb confirmed this but added there was more. Asher asked what else. A rustle sounded on the line, and Caleb glanced aside as the orange cat stretched and jumped to the ground. He picked up the empty food wrappers. He asked if Asher was alone and if he was able to video chat. He said it would be convenient. Caleb told him to wait a minute while he went upstairs. After throwing away the trash and waving goodbye to the cats, Caleb went to his room, opened his laptop, and initiated a video call. Asher accepted instantly. The screen lit up with a handsome, smiling face. "Caleb," Asher said, his happiness radiating through the screen. "Emotion is contagious." Caleb's expression softened in response. He asked why Asher was so happy. Asher replied that of course he was. He thought he'd lost everything, but instead he'd gotten an upgrade. He then asked what Caleb wanted to tell him. Was it new rules? Caleb explained there were only 2 new rules. The first was that their relationship must remain an absolute secret. The second was that their relationship could be ended at any time. Asher paused, repeating the last part. Caleb nodded. Either of them could initiate a breakup at any time, and they both had to promise not to cling or drag things out afterward. Asher's smile faded, the joy in his chest slowly deflating. The rule itself was logical, applicable even to conventional couples. Everyone has the right to end a relationship. But for Caleb to state it so explicitly felt strange, like a couple discussing the terms of their divorce before even getting married. It was unsettling. He asked if Asher understood. Asher said he did. Caleb continued, saying that their interactions had already been very much like dating. At this, the last bit of warmth left his face. He looked directly at Asher through the camera. "It's not that I'm unwilling to date," he said seriously. "I always planned on it before I met you. You just weren't in the scope of my consideration." "Why?" Asher asked. "Because I don't think you can handle it," Caleb said softly. Asher was stunned. Caleb continued, "Even now, I still don't think you can handle it." Asher stared, feeling a lump form in his throat. He wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Finally, he managed to ask why Caleb was willing to try with him now. Caleb looked down, his voice quiet. "I'm tired of being so conscientious. It's exhausting." He looked up again. "I like you. I like your body. I like your personality, and I like how you care for me, how you're good to me. I like when you hold me and kiss me and sleep with me. From the beginning, I've had no complaints. I want you to keep being good to me. I want to keep feeling this sensation of being cherished. The old rules were too restrictive. And since we already act like a couple, I've changed my mind. I want to try dating you. But I still don't want to be responsible for your feelings." Caleb's gaze was intense. "I know you can't handle this, but I want to try it with you. That's why I felt it was necessary to be clear about this." He knew from the start that Asher was emotionally invested, so he had avoided it. They were just supposed to be about sex, no strings. Under the terms they'd agreed upon, any extra feelings were one's own burden to bear. He hadn't wanted Asher to fall too hard for him. It would make him uneasy. Receiving so much affection that he couldn't reciprocate felt like a heavy pressure, an unfair burden on Asher. But now, he still couldn't return that level of feeling, still couldn't offer any guarantees, and he knew it was unfair. But he wanted to try. He wanted to have that emotional connection with Asher. Laying it all out beforehand, he thought, was the last piece of his conscience. He looked at Asher. "Knowing all this, do you still want to be my boyfriend?" An investment of feelings with no guaranteed return. Did he still want in? Asher nodded almost without thinking. "Yes," he said, his voice soft but firm. "Yes." "You don't want to reconsider?" Asher shook his head, a small smile playing on his lips. "I was already prepared for this." He felt a sense of relief, not burden. He wasn't a fool. He could see that Caleb was a coward, afraid of commitment, afraid of getting hurt and of hurting others. He presented a strong front, but underneath, he was incredibly fragile. If it hadn't been for that trip to the coast and meeting Caleb's father, he might not have understood. A person who had been obedient for 20 years, whose parents felt they could arrange his marriage, who had to set up rigid rules just to feel safe enough to be vulnerable. And now he was talking about having no conscience. If he truly had no conscience, he would have just started a relationship without any of this preamble. This whole talk was proof of how much he cared, how terrified he was of misleading Asher. Asher might not be an expert in love, but he was a good judge of character. The more he thought about it, the more he worried Caleb would be taken advantage of by someone else. It was better to keep him close. Even in normal relationships, no one can guarantee they'll be together forever, Asher said. For two guys with family and society and everything else, it's even more normal not to make promises. I think the point of dating is to be happy in the moment. People get divorced all the time. We can worry about the future later. As long as we like each other right now, that's enough. He smiled. You really don't have to overthink it. Caleb frowned slightly. He thought Asher was being naive, a bit of a romantic idealist, the kind of person who dives headfirst into love and ignores all else. You don't think I'm a jerk for this? He asked. No, Asher said, shaking his head. You're not two-timing anyone. How is that being a jerk? I just want to take, not give. Asher looked at him. That's fine. I like to give. And it was true. From a young age, Asher had always been a leader, a captain, someone who took responsibility for his team and was happy to invest his time, money, and energy into it. He thrived on being needed, especially by people he cared about. Your efforts might not be rewarded, Caleb warned. I do it because I want to, not because I expect a reward, Asher replied. He paused. Well, I do want one, but that's separate from my willingness to give. You don't need to feel pressured. Caleb looked into those dark, sincere eyes and suddenly felt even more pressure. He had laid everything bare specifically to avoid pressure, so how had he ended up with more? He sighed internally. Whatever. They were boyfriends now. He would just have to be a little kinder to Asher and maybe teach him a thing or two about people. All right, then, Caleb said, taking a deep breath and letting a genuine smile spread across his face. Since you accept, hi, boyfriend. Seeing that smile, Asher's breath hitched. A tingling sensation shot up his spine. His heart pounded, blood roaring in his ears. The feeling of getting what he'd always wanted was more dizzying than any physical climax. He wanted to hear Caleb say those two words again, but Caleb's tone shifted. He propped his chin on his hand, his voice becoming lazy and suggestive. Boyfriend, when can you come back? He blinked slowly, his dark eyes filled with an undisguised emptiness and a blatant invitation. I'm so hungry. I want you to come back and feed me. After saying it, Caleb sighed in satisfaction. He liked this feeling of directness, of being able to openly express his desires. It was like another lock had been broken. From now on, his true self wasn't just confined to the bedroom. Asher's ears burned, and his breathing grew slightly ragged. I'll try to get back as soon as I can. That's still days away, Caleb said, tilting his head, his dark eyes narrowing. But I'm hungry now. What should I do? The more he spoke, the wider his smile grew, and the more liberated he felt. So this was the benefit of being in a relationship. He could ask for things without reservation, express his needs without worrying about crossing a line, because Asher was his boyfriend. Any request was now perfectly reasonable. This feeling was incredible, just as he'd imagined. Asher licked his dry lips. He couldn't quite describe it, but after that one word, boyfriend, Caleb had changed. He was more open, more dangerously alluring. Previously, Caleb had always been reserved in their daily interactions, only letting his true colors show in moments of intimacy. But now, Asher had a premonition that Caleb would be a siren both in and out of bed, constantly bewitching him. He took a steadying breath. What do you want to do? I can't come back right now. Caleb leaned back in his chair, his lips curved into a tantalizing smile. Aren't we on a video call? The single sentence was enough to trigger a flood of memories for Asher. The heat, the whispered provocations. He bit his lip and sat up straighter, his expression serious, but the hand resting on his desk was clenched into a fist, veins standing out. But this time, I won't do it like before, Caleb said, a glint in his eyes. That's not enough. It will only leave me feeling emptier. So, Asher swallowed. So what? Caleb stood and opened his closet, pulling out a large box. He placed it on his desk, opened it, and took out a rectangular package. He began to unbox it in front of Asher. I bought this online a while ago, he explained. I thought I might need it, but I never got the chance. Funny that now that I have a boyfriend, I have to use this. The box was open. Caleb held the contents up to the camera. It's pretty realistic. He then picked up a small bottle and shook it. This can be loaded into the device. The seller claims one press simulates a realistic. Before he could finish, Asher's voice came out, raspy. Can you not use that? He was frowning, his gaze fixed on the object in Caleb's hand. The moment he saw it, he felt a primal urge to snatch it away and destroy it. Why? Caleb asked. Give me a reason. I'll be jealous, Asher said. Caleb smiled. Reason not accepted. He opened the device to pour the liquid inside. Asher grew desperate, his mind racing. It's not as good as me. Caleb glanced at him. I know that, obviously. But for an emergency, I think I can tolerate something a little inferior. You won't be able to stand it, Asher said, a sudden clarity striking him. You'll compare it to me and find it lacking in every way. It will only make you miss me more, leave you more unsatisfied. Once you've had the best, how can you settle for some cold, lifeless thing? The more he spoke, the more certain he became of his place in Caleb's heart, of the nature of their new relationship. You absolutely won't be able to stand it, he repeated, his tone confident. Caleb tilted his head, studying him for a moment. Then he nodded. You're right. Reason accepted. He tossed the object back into the box. Asher let out a long sigh of relief, but a bittersweet feeling began to grow inside him. Not only had Caleb changed, but he had too. People were greedy, never satisfied. When Caleb had called him boyfriend, it had felt like the most wonderful thing in the world. But in just a few moments, he was already wanting more. He wanted Caleb's love. He wanted Caleb to be as consumed by him as he was. He wanted to be a real boyfriend, the kind where if you stripped away the sex and desire, there was still a foundation of genuine affection. Not like this. Right now, he felt like little more than a favored toy. A human vibrator that Caleb enjoyed using and had given a special title to as a reward. A reward that could be revoked at any time. Caleb, Asher said, looking earnestly at the screen. Wait for me to come back. Okay? When he returned, he would satisfy every one of Caleb's desires. Caleb watched him. You said it, he confirmed. Asher nodded solemnly. I said it. Leaning back, a smile returned to Caleb's eyes. All right then, I'll wait for you this once. Asher promised he would be back as soon as possible. However, plans rarely go as expected. The family reunion, coinciding with the holidays, was filled with obligations. Their schedule was packed from Christmas through New Year's, with relatives to visit and parties to attend. He and his parents often had to split up to cover different events. It was only because the semester started on the 8th that his family agreed to let him fly back on the 6th. 8 days passed. 8 days that Caleb waited. Asher grew more and more agitated, for the first time in his life hating the holidays. To make matters worse, post-holiday travel was a nightmare. The earliest flight he could get was at 11 in the morning, which meant he wouldn't arrive back in Northwood until after 9 at night. Stepping out of the cab, Asher stood at the entrance to the university, looking at the swarms of returning students. For the first time, he was acutely aware of just how large their school was, how many people there were. More people meant more eyes and a greater chance of being seen. His initial plan was to go straight to Caleb's dorm and spend the night, but now, "Yo, Cap, Happy New Year." Asher nodded at a teammate. "You too." One after another, members of the basketball team greeted him as he dragged his suitcase through the crowd. He made a detour to the campus store, a plausible excuse for being on this side of campus. From there, he could see Caleb's dorm building. More than half the lights were on. Figures moved on balconies. People milled about below. There was no way to get there discreetly. As he contemplated his next move, his phone buzzed. It was Caleb asking where he was. Asher replied that he was at the store, observing the crowd. Caleb agreed there were a lot of people. Asher suggested they go to a hotel instead. Caleb's reply was teasing. "Don't you think this is more exciting?" Exciting? Of course it was. From the moment he'd stepped on campus, Asher had felt the thrill of a clandestine affair unfolding in plain sight. He admitted it was exciting. Caleb replied that he liked the excitement and that his door was unlocked. Asher put his phone away, pulled on a hat and a mask, and began to walk, keeping his head down. Despite his efforts, his height made him recognizable. He calmly returned greetings as he made his way to Caleb's dorm. He made it to the 3rd floor, but just as he approached the door, a guy eating instant noodles on a nearby balcony waved at him. It was a player from the team's B squad. He asked what Asher was doing over here, since he lived in a different building. The guy explained he'd just sublet this room for the semester. Asher's heart sank. The room was right next to Caleb's. He told the guy he was here to see Caleb about designing a poster for the team. The guy nodded and went back to his noodles. Asher walked to Caleb's door and pushed it open. A wave of warm air greeted him. He slipped inside, closed the door, and let out a long breath. Caleb was sitting on his bed, watching him, his eyes dark and shining. The shoulder peeking out from under the comforter was pale and smooth. For a second, Asher wondered if Caleb was naked underneath. The guy next door would have no idea he was planning to stay the night. His own roommates weren't due back until tomorrow. They wouldn't be discovered. He dropped his suitcase and walked to the bed. His gaze locked on Caleb. His breathing grew heavy. He noticed a hint of red at the edge of the comforter near Caleb's shoulder. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice low. Caleb's eyes flickered down to Asher's groin before meeting his gaze again, a slow smile spreading across his lips. "Aren't you?" Outside the walls, the campus was alive with noise. Inside, the only sound was the gentle rush of water from the shower. It was a world apart. Occasionally, a soft, suppressed gasp broke the quiet. Caleb tilted his head back, his long eyelashes wet and trembling. A pink flush crept across his pale skin. His lips were slightly parted, his mind a blissful blank. The frustrating emptiness of the past weeks was finally being filled. He bit his lip, trying to stifle his moans. He wrapped his arms tightly around Asher, resting his chin on his shoulder, breathing every sound, every desire, directly into his ear. He felt a triumphant smile form as his fingers found the red, hot tip of Asher's earlobe, and he bit down playfully. Ouch! Asher flinched back. You bit me again. He looked down at Caleb, his eyes dark. Caleb met his gaze and commanded, "Kiss me." His voice was soft and raspy, his eyes glistening. Asher's thumb stroked his lips. Any more and they'll be swollen. Caleb's eyes lingered on Asher's mouth. Hurry up. Asher's gaze darkened. He slid one hand to the back of Caleb's head, his fingers tangling in his wet hair, and pulled him close. Their lips met, hot breath mingling. For a long time, they were lost in the kiss, the world outside fading away. Slowly, the campus grew quiet. Students returned to their rooms, doors closed, and the hallways fell silent. They moved from the bathroom to the bedroom, plunging the room into darkness to continue their reunion. The windows fogged over with the rising heat. After a while, Caleb leaned back against the cool wall, his body limp, staring blankly at the ceiling, lost in the haze of pleasure. Suddenly, he flinched, a flicker of panic in his eyes. He grabbed Asher's arm, his voice tight. "What is that?" "Just relax," Asher soothed, stroking his back. "It's something to help you recover faster. I did a lot of research, I promise." Recover. The word felt both foreign and familiar. He couldn't quite place it. The darkness obscured his vision, and he couldn't overcome the fear of a foreign object in such an intimate place. He gritted his teeth against the spreading coolness, and then he remembered. It was the restorative capsules he'd recommended to Asher from that online account. This is what it felt like to use them. He had been careless. Watching others use them, it had seemed exciting, but he'd forgotten about Asher's intensity. It was his own damn fault. With a frustrated cry, he sank his teeth into Asher's shoulder, leaving a deep mark. The next morning, Caleb woke up at 10. The room was dim. He yawned and reached for his phone, texting Asher to ask what time he'd left. For 30, came the reply. Caleb laughed, texting back to ask if he was a thief in the night. Asher's reply was, "Yes, a flower thief." Caleb's smile widened. He took a deep breath, feeling the pleasant ache in his muscles, savoring the lingering sensations from the night before. His phone buzzed again. Asher wanted to know his plans for the day. Caleb said he was just going to rest. Asher asked if he wanted to come watch him practice. Caleb retorted, asking if he thought he could even sit down. Asher asked if the capsule hadn't worked. Caleb paused, took a mental inventory, and realized he actually didn't feel as sore as usual. He admitted it had helped a bit. Asher then asked if he had eaten. He offered to order him food, but Caleb declined, explaining he had a club meeting in the afternoon and would just eat at the dining hall beforehand. Asher immediately suggested he could arrange a chance encounter at the dining hall. Caleb thought that was a bit too clingy and told him it was better if they kept their distance on campus. Asher persisted, saying he would sit far away, just to watch him. Caleb was silent for a moment. Then Asher sent 2 words, "boyfriend." Caleb stared at them. For some reason, even without emojis, he could feel the playful, pleading tone. A tough guy trying to be cute was a fatal combination. "Fine," he texted back. He told Asher he was going to sleep a little longer, and Asher told him to rest well, that he'd wait for his message. Meanwhile, Asher was cleaning out his closet. His roommate, Miles, walked in, his arms laden with bags from home. "Cap, Happy New Year," he said cheerfully. Asher returned the greeting. Miles dropped his bags, complaining about how heavy they were, and suggested they go to their favorite burger place off campus for lunch. Asher's hands paused. He said he was thinking of eating at the dining hall today. Miles was surprised, but Asher explained they could eat a quick lunch, get settled, and then go out for a proper meal with the other guys when they arrived that evening. Miles, ever easygoing, agreed. He then grinned slyly and asked how things were going with Asher's online girlfriend. Asher just told him to guess. Miles laughed, saying that with Asher's looks, of course it was going well. Asher smiled. Just then, his phone vibrated. He glanced at it casually before putting it away and telling Miles it was time for lunch. As they approached the dining hall, Asher saw Caleb just ahead, about to go inside. He kept quiet, but Miles shouted Caleb's name. Caleb stopped and turned. Miles threw an arm around Asher's shoulder and jogged over, greeting Caleb and suggesting they eat together. He had something he wanted to talk to him about. Caleb glanced from Miles to Asher, asking what it was. Miles explained it was about the new season of their favorite online game. He wanted to team up with Caleb to climb the rankings. Caleb said he hadn't partnered with anyone yet. Miles was thrilled and started talking animatedly about the game as they went to find a table. The dining hall was packed. Miles snagged a table and sent Asher and Caleb to get food. Caleb said he just wanted some soup, which he could only eat for now, so Miles told him to stay put while Asher went. He sat down next to Caleb, their heads close together as he showed him details about the game on his phone. His arm rested casually on the back of Caleb's chair. From the food line, Asher frowned. He got his food as quickly as possible and returned to the table, setting the tray down with a loud clatter that made them both look up. He placed the bowl of soup in front of Caleb, his face a stony mask. Caleb murmured a thank you. Miles pushed a plate of fries toward Caleb, telling him he was too thin and needed to eat more. Asher said nothing, but under the table, his legs started to bounce with irritation. Miles asked Caleb for his class schedule so they could coordinate gaming times. As they talked, Asher's leg bounced faster. He ate his food in silence, his eyes dark. Suddenly, he felt something touch his foot. He stopped bouncing and glanced down, then looked up at Caleb. Caleb was eating his soup, his expression placid, as if the foot now resting against Asher's under the table belonged to someone else. The irritation vanished, replaced by a warmth that he tried to hide behind his plate. After lunch, back in the dorm, Miles asked Asher if he had a problem with Caleb. Asher, who had been about to text Caleb, looked up, surprised. Miles explained that during lunch, Asher had the same tense, intimidating aura he'd had right before a big game against their rival, Dylan's team. Asher denied it, but Miles persisted, saying he quite liked Caleb. As he unpacked, he continued talking about how nice Caleb smelled, how elegant his hands were, how he ate so politely. Asher said nothing, just watched his roommate. Miles was cute, with a youthful face and a well-built physique. He was also, crucially, single. Asher told himself that Caleb wouldn't be interested in someone so immature. "Hey, Caleb sent me his class schedule," Miles exclaimed, studying the picture. Asher immediately opened his phone and texted Caleb that he hadn't sent him his schedule. A picture of the schedule appeared instantly, followed by a message asking if he was satisfied now. A few days later, after a club meeting where he officially stepped down as president, Caleb walked toward the building where they picked up textbooks. He had decided to focus more on earning money this semester. His father had cut off his supplementary CR card 2 days ago, right after the tuition and fees had been deducted. The act had filled him with a sudden, fierce desire to buy a house, a massive villa, bigger and grander than his parents', just so he could post a picture of the deed for them to see. But he was far short of the tens of millions it would cost. He had a considerable fan base from the art he posted online for free, and now he was determined to leverage that. He'd already started replying to the highest-paying commission requests in his inbox. He was so lost in thought that he didn't realize until he was almost at the textbook distribution center that everyone else was pulling suitcases. He had forgotten. The building was a 20-minute walk from his dorm, and with his legs still not fully healed, the thought of carrying a mountain of books back by hand was daunting. He was about to order a delivery service to bring him a suitcase when someone stopped in front of him. He didn't have to look up to recognize the limited ion sneakers. A voice asked if he needed help, then pointed out that he seemed to be ordering a delivery. The voice, low and familiar, asked, "How about me?" Caleb suppressed a smile and looked up, his face neutral. "Sure. What's your price?" "No charge," Asher said, his hands in his pockets, his expression dead serious as he said something not at all serious. "Just let me kiss you when no one's around." After they had collected all 26 books, they walked back toward the dorms. On a less crowded path, Caleb, looking straight ahead, asked in a low voice how he was supposed to pay him when there were people everywhere. Asher glanced around. "Your dorm. If we go to my dorm, will you really leave after just one kiss?" Caleb challenged. "The delivery guy only gets one kiss," Asher said with a grin. "But I'm also your boyfriend, and the boyfriend can do whatever he wants." The moment the dorm room door closed, the pretense of propriety shattered. Asher pressed Caleb against it, giving him one chaste peck on the cheek. Payment for the delivery. Then another, deeper one on the lips. "And this is from your boyfriend." His hand cupped the back of Caleb's head, pulling him closer. The kiss deepened, a hungry, searching exploration that left them both breathless. After a long while, Caleb pushed him away, his breathing ragged. "That's enough, my lips will be swollen. I have to give a speech at the opening ceremony tomorrow." Asher's chest heaved, his eyes still dark with unsated desire. "Then I'll kiss you somewhere else." He pointed a finger at the fabric covering Caleb's chest. "I want to kiss you here," he rasped. A ringing phone interrupted them. Asher scowled and saw it was Miles. Caleb slipped out of his embrace and sat on the bed. Asher answered, annoyed. Miles's energetic voice boomed through the phone, asking where he was. The other guys had arrived, and they were all waiting for him to go to dinner. Asher's eyes were glued to Caleb, who was now lifting his shirt and wiping his chest with a wet wipe. His mind went blank. He told Miles he'd be there soon and hung up. Caleb was now applying a clear ointment to a red mark on his skin. He looked up. "Are you leaving?" Asher's throat was dry. "Yeah." He asked what Caleb was putting on. Caleb explained it was an anti-inflammatory gel. He had a class dinner tomorrow and might have to take off his jacket. Asher's ears burned. He asked if the skin was broken, if it hurt. Caleb said no to both. "Aren't you leaving yet?" he asked, applying the ointment to the other side. Asher stood frozen, a battle raging within him. He took a breath and forced himself to say, "You have that speech tomorrow." "Yes." "Look at me when you're on stage." "What if I look and you're not looking at me?" "I will be," Asher said, his gaze intense. "I'll be watching you the whole time. I won't miss it." At dinner, Leo eyed Asher's slightly swollen lips. "Where have you been? Did you get lost and walk into a vacuum cleaner?" The table erupted in laughter. Asher just smiled. Leo asked if his girlfriend went to their school. Asher said no. She'd be going back to her own university when her break ended. He then asked them to keep it quiet. She was shy and they hadn't gone public yet. Miles chimed in, saying he was even more curious now. Later that night, Asher was texting Caleb when Miles called out to him. "Cap, is this box yours?" He had brought up a package he'd found downstairs. It was a flat box with a shipping label from a place called Liang's Fine Arts and Antiquities. Asher said he hadn't ordered anything. He told Miles to open it and see what it was. Inside was an ornate rosewood box. As Miles fumbled with the ancient-looking clasp, it clicked open. Asher suddenly remembered something. He dropped his phone and leaped off his bunk, slamming his hand down on the box just before it could open fully. His roommates stared at him, startled. "It's mine," he said, his heart pounding, trying to sound casual. "I forgot I ordered it." Miles asked why he was being so secretive. Asher grabbed the box, muttering something about it being a gift that couldn't be seen yet, and retreated to his bed, pulling the privacy curtain shut for the first time all year. Behind the curtain, he nervously lifted the lid. He glanced inside, then quickly shut it again, his face burning. After a few deep breaths, he opened it again and took out the instruction manual. In his own room, Caleb worked on a commission, a G-rated video playing on a tablet beside him for ambient noise. It was a private, high-paying request, an erotic illustration. The client, a fan from his social media, had asked for an upgraded version of a previous piece, with more skin and the addition of ropes and whip marks. Caleb, who normally would have declined, had quoted an exorbitant price, expecting to be turned down. The client had accepted without hesitation. As he sketched, an image formed in his mind. Asher, bound and defiant, muscles taut, skin flushed. The scene became more vivid, the lines on his tablet flowing faster. He paused, took out his phone, and ordered a few items from an online store. Just then, a message from Asher arrived. He was at the hotel they had booked for the weekend. He mentioned he'd brought a gift, something that was good for Caleb's body. Caleb knew immediately what he meant. He asked what it was. After a long pause, a picture came through. It was the rosewood box, opened to reveal a set of exquisitely carved, hollowed-out alabaster plugs nestled in gold silk. Caleb asked why he'd bought something so extravagant. Asher said he'd heard it was good. He asked if Caleb would let him use it. Caleb's eyes flickered to the sketch on his screen. Of course, he would. In bed, one had to be open-minded to have fun. He took a photo of his drawing. "Yes, I will," he typed. "And in exchange, I want you to pose like this for me." The next day was the official start of the semester. At the opening ceremony on the main quad, everyone stood listlessly as the university president droned on. Caleb was this semester's student speaker. As he walked to the podium, a murmur went through the crowd. He looked as effortlessly cool as he had freshman year. Asher watched, a mixture of pride and possessiveness swelling in his chest. He heard his teammates whispering about how handsome Caleb was, how it was a shame he wasn't a girl. He felt a pang of jealousy that they could say such things so freely, while his own feelings had to remain a carefully guarded secret. Caleb began his speech, his voice calm and clear. His eyes scanned the crowd, pausing for a fraction of a second when they met Asher's before moving on. The brief moment of connection was enough. The jealousy evaporated, replaced by a smug satisfaction. He knew things no one else did. He knew about the bandages hidden under Caleb's uniform shirt, a result of his own overzealousness. He knew about the other marks his kisses had left on skin no one else would see. He pulled out his phone, his fingers flying across the screen. "I want to kiss you." A moment later, Caleb's pocket vibrated. He finished his speech, and as he walked off the stage, he read the message and replied. "Where?" "The basketball team's office," Asher sent back. Caleb changed direction, heading away from the quad. After waiting a few minutes, Asher slipped away from the crowd and took a roundabout path to the athletics building. He found Caleb in the empty office, looking at a magazine. "You're slow," Caleb said with a small smile. Asher closed the door and moved toward him, his fingers already reaching for Caleb's lips. "Don't leave a mark," Caleb warned. "I have a class dinner tonight." This time, Asher's kiss was gentle, restrained. He held Caleb, savoring the closeness, his forehead resting against Caleb's. He murmured that everyone on the quad had been staring at him, that he'd heard people, even Miles, say they liked him. He told Caleb to stay away from him. It was half complaint, half childish plea. Caleb laughed, running a hand through Asher's hair, enjoying his clinginess. "Are you a puppy?" he teased. "Caleb," Asher's muffled voice came from his neck. "Are you recovered yet? I want—" Just as he was about to finish, the doorknob turned. The door opened, and Dylan, their rival teammate, stood there, frozen. He looked from Caleb to Asher, his expression bewildered. "Caleb? What are you doing here?" Asher, now sitting in a chair, scowled. "Don't you know how to knock? How was I supposed to know anyone was in here?" Dylan shot back. He turned his attention back to Caleb. Asher cut in before Caleb could speak. "I was asking him to be our new team manager. Our old one graduated." Dylan looked skeptical but asked Caleb if it was true. Caleb, holding a team roster he'd picked up from the desk, calmly said he was considering it. He then pointed to Dylan's name on the list, noting his many absences last semester. Flustered, Dylan made an excuse about being busy. He tried to ask Caleb to lunch, then dinner, but Caleb turned him down both times. Defeated, Dylan left, casting one last confused look at them as he closed the door. Once he was gone, they both relaxed. "I thought you chose this place because it was safe," Caleb said, raising an eyebrow. Asher admitted he was just as surprised. He then pitched the team manager idea for real, listing the perks. Good pay for very little work, and if Caleb joined, Asher would give him his own share of the team's winnings. A slow, suggestive fire kindled between them. Caleb wrapped his arms around Asher's neck. "How much is your share?" After Asher told him, Caleb raised his eyebrows. He hadn't realized being on the team was so lucrative. Asher smiled. "Do you like managing money?" It was a question couples might ask. "I don't know about other people," Asher said, reading his mind. "But I want to ask you. Do you?" Caleb considered it. "What if I say I do? Then I'll work my ass off to go pro," Asher said, his eyes full of earnest sincerity. "And I'll make more money for you to manage." It was so genuine, so naive. Caleb wanted to remind him that their relationship was only for the present. No strings, no future. But he couldn't bring himself to crush that hopeful look in Asher's eyes. He smiled instead. "When you make it to the National League, then I'll manage your money. It's too little to bother with right now." Asher's grin widened. "It's a deal," he said, holding up his hand. Caleb slapped it with his own. "It's a deal." Friday finally arrived. Asher, giddy with anticipation, told his roommates he'd be gone for the weekend. Caleb had booked a suite at a boutique hotel, and Asher couldn't wait. He could feel the hard corner of the rosewood box through his backpack. This weekend, all his fantasies would come true. As he walked toward the campus parking garage, he saw a girl confessing her feelings to someone by the art building. The recipient was Caleb. Asher slowed his pace. After patiently hearing the girl out, Caleb gently apologized. She asked why. Just then, Caleb's eyes flickered in Asher's direction before he looked back at the girl. "I already have someone I like," he said. He explained that they had just gotten together and asked her to please keep it a secret. The disappointed girl agreed and walked away. Caleb then looked over at the tall figure loitering nearby and gave him a knowing smirk. Asher walked over, rubbing his nose. "Another one," he said. "Jealous?" Caleb asked. "Jealous," Asher confirmed. They parted ways, agreeing to meet at the hotel after Caleb's afternoon class. Asher got the room key and went upstairs. The room was dominated by a large bed covered in rose petals and a stark, black metal chair sitting beside it. The bathroom was separated from the bedroom by only a sheet of clear glass. Thick, soft carpet covered the floor. It was a room designed for indulgence. He was exploring the drawers, which were filled with an array of adult novelties, when his phone buzzed. It was Caleb. He told Asher to shower first, alone, and not to light the candles in the room. He wanted to do that when he arrived. Hours later, the lock on the door beeped. Asher, wearing only a towel, watched as Caleb entered. The moment their eyes met, Caleb paused, his gaze drifting from Asher to the black chair he was sitting in. A slow smile spread across his face, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "It looks like you're ready," he said, his voice a low purr as he closed the door behind him. But Asher's throat went dry. He swallowed, fighting the urge to pull Caleb into his arms. "But what?" Caleb's smile widened, his voice dropping to a theatrical drawl. "But first, I'm going to have to punish you."